Hey y'all, welcome to Facing the 50s. My name's Deanne. I had a great question from a viewer and she asked me if you could only recommend or only get one brush for the face and one brush for the eyes, which ones would you recommend? And I thought it was a great question. It caused me to think a little bit and try to figure out how I might tweak my routine to be able to do that. So if you are interested in seeing which two brushes I picked as well as how to get the full look that I did today using those two brushes, just stay tuned. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to do my full face with the two brushes that I would recommend. First, this blush and bronzer brush, and then second, the smudge brush. So let's get right into it. First, I'm going to start with my eyes. I have already primed my eyes with my Smashbox 24-hour Photo Finish Shadow Primer. Use it every single day. I'm going to be working out of the bottom half of my daily compact here. And I'm going to go in with Cupcake, with Basic, with On Wednesdays, and then with a little bit of Philly for my eye look. So I'm going to dip into that Cupcake and use, and this is kind of the pointed end of the smudge brush, or the flatter end of the two, because it's really good for all over color. So I'm just going to get that on there to set that eyeshadow primer and to give me that coverage there. Then I'm going to dip the fluffier end. So I've got, to see how this end's a little bit rounder, and that end is the one I just used. It's a little bit flatter. So I'm going to use this round end here in the Basic, because that's what I'm going to put right up here above the crease. Now here's where I'll have to be careful. Since this one is such a densely packed brush, I want to use a super light hand so that I don't get too much up there. If I had picked the eyeshadow brush, the end of it is much fluffier and easier for buffing this into the transition, but if I could only pick one brush, I had to pick this one because of the multiple uses that it can be. Alright, so I've just kind of created my crease up there. Now I'm going to go in with this On Wednesdays right here, and I'm actually going to take and just use my finger for it, because it seems to apply a little bit better for me that way. So just use a little bit and pop it there on the lid. Same thing. A little bit there and pop it on the lid. This one is one of my favorite colors. I just love it. It's got a little bit of sheen to it. I wouldn't even call it a true shimmer. I would just call it more of a sheen. I mean, it's more than just a satin, but anyway, it's beautiful. All right, so I'm going to pick up that same brush again, and I'm going to go with the rounder end of it, and I'm going to dip it into this Philly so I can do a little bit in the outer corner. And I'm just barely going to dip. You see, I just barely dipped, and I got quite a bit of product already. I've got small eyes, so I'm just careful as I lay it down and blend it. Now, obviously, you know, I kind of tend for a softer eye look. If you're doing something where you want a cut crease or, you know, something super defined or specific, then this may not be the brush that you would pick. But my challenge was, if I could only pick one of each, which one would I pick? And these are the two I would pick. All right, so I've got my outer corner deepened. I want just a little bit more here. Just give it a little bit more definition. All right, and then I've got just a little one of our microfiber cloths in my lap, and I just kind of wipe off any extra so I can blend that out just a little bit. All right, eyes are pretty much done. Now, if you follow my channel, you know that I would typically go in next with a black eyeshadow for my eyeliner. But since I couldn't pick a brush that was perfect for eyeliner, because this one is not perfect for eyeliner, way too big, so I had to get a little creative, and I had to go back to my stash, and I pulled out the Kat Von D or KVD Beauty, whatever it's called these days, the tattoo liner. I don't use this often, obviously, because I've got, you know, the little brush that I like to use with my black eyeshadow, but since I couldn't use it, I had to get creative today. So let me pop this on, and I just like a super thin line at the base of the lashes just to give them a little bit of depth. All right. Now, if you aren't a liquid eyeliner fan, which again, I'm not the biggest liquid eyeliner fan, but I had to use it. You could certainly use a pencil, whatever color that you want there, like an eye pencil or an eye crayon to do your eyeliner. I just happened to pick this because I knew I could get a pretty thin line still. All right, there we go. So I'm gonna give that a little bit of a chance to dry, and I'm gonna hop up here to brows. So with brows, I grabbed my Anastasia Brow Wiz in ash brown. So I'm just gonna pop on some brows really quickly. If you followed me too, you know I'm not the queen of brows, so if you're wanting to learn brows, I can certainly give you my thoughts on things I've used, but there are so many people more talented than I am with brows. But at least I get them on. It frames my face just a little bit. All right. And I really like this Anastasia Brow Wiz. Super easy to use. This one in ash brown, I wish it just were a hair lighter because it's a tiny bit dark, but Anastasia doesn't make anything in the gray arena, and I've been playing with her taupe, and it's okay, and I keep playing with it thinking I'm gonna like it, but it's just a little bit warm. So when I get these on, if they feel a little bit dark, I just brush through them again, and they're gonna look a little bit dark now because I don't have the rest of my face on. And when I get the rest of my face on, it'll blend a little better. Okay, so we got our eyebrows done. Now that my eyeliner has had a chance to dry, I'm just going to grab my eyelash curler. And I promise I'll get to the other brushes here in a second, but I'm promising you how I do it. This is the order of how I would actually do it. So pump that a few times, get a little bit of curl going on, pop some mascara on. This is a mascara I got from Sephora, and it was so promising. I've been trying it out for a few weeks, but there's one kind of downfall to it, and I'll talk about it in my empties that are coming up here at the end of the month. So it's not horrible, but I don't know that I'll buy it again. All right, and I'll do the bottom lashes once I get around to the bottom. Okay, so eyes and brows done. Now let's get to the face. So I'm going to pick up my blush and bronzer brush. So the blush and bronzer brush, on one end, it's a kind of a medium density domed brush, and on this end, it's super loose and fluffy. And this right here, this medium density end, this is going to be the workhorse of today. I'm going to use it on so many things. So I'm going to grab my compact here, and I'm going to start with my Mango as my color correct, and I'm just going to dip it in there, and you know a little goes a really long way with Mango. So I'm going to buff that into any areas where I've got redness, hyperpigmentation. It just starts to do that little magical color correcting that I need. And I know it looks orange, I know it does, but it all blends in the end. The key to it is just not putting on too much. If you put on so much that you know you're still looking orange after you get it blended in, then you're probably putting on too much. All right, and I am going to buff and buff and buff because I want to get this into the skin so that it can start to correct those colors and not be sitting on top. I make sure and pay special attention to my nose. That's something that when we're doing color matches, you know, a lot of people don't notice that their nose is darker than their face, and so that's why a lot of times if you have a darker nose or redness on your nose, I'll suggest Mango as a color corrector so that you're able to even that out. And these brushes are super soft, super soft. All right, so I think I have buffed that in about as well as it can be buffed. a little bit more on my chin. All right, the next step is my dampen perfector, and I use that between each layer just to make sure I'm taking off any excess so that I don't have too much product on. I've used it long enough now, I know how little product I need on my brush, but sometimes I still pick up a little too much. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take that same brush, and here's what I do. You don't necessarily have to, but I do because I like it. I've got a little brush cleaner here that I keep on my vanity, and I take, I've just got this little plastic board here, and I take a a paper towel, and I just fold it, and I just keep the spray handy, and I spray 3 or 4 sprays there. And then I'll take the brush and just kind of get most of that color off because I'm going to change colors. And if this is my only brush, then I want to get most of that off. So you can see it's pretty much off, and the brush still had quite a bit on it. So I just get that kind of cleaned off. That's one of those quick drying sprays, so it's ready to go and ready to use. So I am now going to go in with my main color right here, which is Candlelit, using that same end that I just used. And so you notice this time, instead of swirling or buffing, I'm patting it in or stippling it in. This end of the brush is perfect for that. And because I did that mango under it, I'm getting really good coverage. And I'll get good longevity too, so. So I'm going over anywhere I had that mango. I'm not necessarily going here where I'm going to contour because I don't need to, because I'm going to put contour there. So I'm just putting this over anywhere where I need regular coverage, or I did that mango just to make sure there's not any warmth coming through. All right. Got my mirror over here. Sorry if I keep looking. Grab my perfector. Get off any excess. All right, now one more thing I'm going to do. I'm going to address these under eyes really quickly. So I'm going to go in with this mango, and I'm just going to use my finger since I could use this brush, and I'll use it here in a second. But I'm just going to dip my finger in, and barely, I probably even got too much just by doing that. I'm going to tap my fingers together and get a little of that off. But since I have some darkness under here, I want a little bit of color correcting. And so I tap on just a little bit of mango to counteract that blue that I have under there. And you can see it's starting to get rid of that. It is still a little warm. I'm going to address that. Make sure I perfect it here. All right, now ready for my brightener. So I am going to take what was quote unquote the eye brush, that smudge brush, and I'm going to clean off the ends of it with that paper towel and cleaner just like I did just a second ago, so that the eyeshadow's gone from them. And then now I'm going to use this on my face. So that's why I picked this brush instead of the other one that's called the eyeshadow brush. It's because this one I can use for my eyes and face, and I need something smaller to be able to go up under my eyes. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use, there it is. I'm going to use that round end. I'm going to tap it into my brightener and just start brightening under my eyes. Put this on top of that mango. It tones down that warmth, but that mango is what really helps with that color correcting. So can you see the difference? Oh, I got a little dark spot right there, it looks like. So this side over here, a little bit brighter than over here. So that's the trick with the brightener. I also would like to come right around my nose with the brightener. I like to come a little on my chin, right down the center of my nose. And now let's make sure we get that other under eye. And so this brush is great. It can fit right up into all that area where you need it. And I'm patting this just like I patted that candle lid on. Put a little bit of brightness here in between my brows, kind of creating just like a little bright area. Grab the Perfector. You knew it was coming. Tap over all that. All right, we are now ready for contour. So I'm going to grab my paper towel. I'm going to just swipe off this Candlelit color. And since contour is darker, it wouldn't really matter at all, but I've got the majority of that off just because I like to, because that's the way I do it. So I'm going to go in here and grab my contour. My color is Astoria, in case you're curious. Now here's the thing. So there are brushes that I think are better for contour. So this end of the 3D brush, you see how it's squishier than the blush and bronzer brush. So this one is the one I prefer. And if I could have another brush, I would probably be adding that one. But since I could only have the one face brush, I picked this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it so that I get more of a shape like that when I'm putting it on. So I'm going to pinch it and dip it into my Astoria here. So I've got my product on there. And then I'm going to keep it pinched as much as I can because I don't want a big round blob of contour. I'm going to try to keep it pinched so I can get that angle that I like. But you can see it works just fine. Just fine. All right, definitely want to keep it pinched when you're working under the cheeks, especially if you've got a small face like I do, because you don't want it to come down too far. But again, works just fine. And then a little bit here under the jawline, and I always do a little on my neck. All right, you know what's next. Let's grab that Perfector. Okay, now let me, and then I just keep flipping my paper towel over until I've used all 4 sides of it. So spray it again, wipe that contour off. I told you this end of the brush was going to be the workhorse of the entire look. So I've got most everything off. Now I'm just going to go in to my blush. This blush is Cindy. It is one of my favorites. Several of them are. But so I get some blush on my brush there. And obviously this brush is perfect for blush because it's called the Blush and Bronzer Brush. Okay. Got my blush on. And I know it looks a little strong. They do tend to calm down after a minute or two. So I know that will tone down. And if you do put it on and it's too strong for you, you can always dip back into your main highlight. So if I wanted to dip back into that Candlelit and tone it down just a little bit, you can do that too, because the creams just meld together. All right, so what is left? Oh, here is where it got kind of tricky for me. So I like to set my under eyes with powder because I don't want any creasing or anything like that. So I'm cleaning off this brush again because guess what? I'm still going to use this same brush because I do like to set so that I don't have that creasing. And typically, let's see, where is it? I would use the powder brush because it's got this end of it that's just perfect for going under your eyes. But since the challenge was one face brush and one eye brush, that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to go in to my Vanilla Dust right there. And I'm just going to, and I've wiped off most of that blush there. I'm just going to swipe it in there just a little bit. Get a little bit of powder on the end there. And set under there. And like I said, this isn't probably my favorite for this, but it can be done. So this really should show you kind of the versatility of these brushes. If I need to set on my face, I can use it to do that as well. All right, then all that's left really is lips, and I'm going to grab a lip liner here. This one's Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk. And then I will just go in here with, I think this is Desert Sunset. All right, I think the only thing left is just a tiny bit of mascara under the lashes, because I like that to finish off the look. And that's it. So I'm done. I mean, I could do more if I needed to, but I don't. I've done this the past couple of days just to check out and make sure that I felt good about being able to do it with only these two brushes. And I had great longevity. I was very happy with the application. So I feel very comfortable saying if you could only get one face brush and one quote-unquote eye brush, I would recommend the blush and bronzer brush and the smudge brush. The other thing I could do, and I didn't do it, but I could take this end right now and go and put bronzer on as well. So that's why I just think that for me, these two are super versatile. I hope that was helpful. I really appreciate that question. I love this idea. If you have any other questions that you'd like to see a video on, definitely drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to try to do that for you. Appreciate you spending a few minutes with me today. I'll link both of these brushes down in the information, the description box below too, in case, so that you can get straight to them if you want to pick them up. And anyway, thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. Bye.